The big beautiful bill. And the
Yeah.
one thing that annoys the shit out of me has always annoyed the shit out of me, and I am so tired of it. Um, and it's the discussion that's always around the deficit, which is fine and fair. I think even on one of our "Who Cares Nobody's Here" recordings, you asked me like, you were like, but you do like worry about the deficit in some capacity. I'm like, sure, of course, it's bad. But every time we talk about the deficit, there's never, ever, ever the discussion of how like you should raise taxes to fix it. Never. So you just feel like you get the Democrats who come in, who are like, hey, let's do social programs, let's do things to boost whatever, like chips manufacturing or building infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. But then they never get the stomach to actually raise taxes on rich people because they are bought and paid for turd burglars. Okay. And then we get Republicans in, and then they'll just, like, I guess they did cut spending, but they just cut taxes so much that um, it gasses it up too. So I just feel like no matter who's in office, I don't even feel like like all the bad faith conversations, even on the internet. I barely ever hear just like you're gonna like raise taxes. What are we doing? And
Yeah.
I get so fucking annoyed. Bernie was on Joe Rogan recently, and he was also
Yeah.
on Joe Rogan in the past, and other like, let's just call the people on the left as a catch-all have been on in the past and have explained to someone like Joe Rogan, and I'm sure this happens to a lot of people in a lot of areas of the country, they've had to explain to Joe Rogan more than one time, as if he forgets, that the progressive tax rate, if we say 90% is taxed at 5 million and more, the amount of, like, I think Joe Rogan every time is like, oh, you're going to tax all my money at 90%. It's like, oh my God, sit down, take a deep breath. It means once you've earned $5 million, everything after that is taxed at
You know what? Not
90%.
for
And I'm not
nothing
saying I
though.
support that. I'm just saying, like, let's understand. Go ahead. Yeah. I just get so annoyed. We can raise taxes. We can do it in a way that doesn't hurt people that it shouldn't hurt. It can, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say not for nothing. Joe Rogan makes enough to where most of his money comes after 5 million. So he would be.
Sure, and if you're not parsing through the numbers, you can feel a certain way. That's fine. But by the way, not in this country. Maybe if you lived in Finland, but in this country, it's only like third. I don't even know what the highest tax rate. It's like maybe it's 40.
Oh, it's
It's
I don't even think it's 40.
I'm not sure. I think it's just under 40. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Other countries are worse. Other countries might even be better. Like whatever. But that's what it is here. And I feel like the devil's always in how we explain things, and especially when it comes to the deficit, you have people just kind of wording things in the way they want for their own cause. But if you sit down, I bet you could get at least 6 out of 10 people, any 6 out of 10 people you grab, and you explain to them like we're gonna raise taxes on the haves, on the mega haves. And if you do that, you could even sell cuts of efficiency and this and that. Like, dude, people on the left aren't opposed to that. That's so ridiculous that it's like, So I feel like you get a majority of people, explain to them like you could raise taxes on the haves, meaning like you made $10 million this year. Okay, every cent after that 90%, suck my balls. You made $10 million, like, and then that would be so popular you could even like cut some things in a way that would still like be more popular than the shit slop we always get. You don't think so? I feel like it would be if you could like get people to understand that it's like rich people are gonna pay a little more. Like,
Right. Yeah, it is kind of crazy to me that it's never part of the conversation. To be fair, I think talking about raising taxes in any form is really politically, I suppose, a political liability if you talk about raising taxes at all.
Two
I
things are true
remember,
here. I can say that's fair and that sucks. But go ahead.
no, I agree it sucks, but you have to sell the idea, right? I mean,
Yes, but
unless
if
you're
people don't
proposing...
understand the, go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. I'm just saying, unless you're explicitly proposing above a certain threshold, it's really. I remember Bernie had a moment. I think it was when he was campaigning in 2016 and he was talking about universal health care. And point blank, he got asked at a town hall. I think it was maybe MSNBC, which of course it was, considering what he was asked. But they were essentially like, our tax is going to go up because of universal health care. And he led with, yes, they will.
He shouldn't have.
But,
He shouldn't have.
correct.
Because you
But I
overpay
think he
for
said-
insurance anyway, so I don't even know that it would be so
Right.
different for most of us. That right. Yep.
Right. He said, but essentially, if you take out what you're paying for insurance plus what insurance isn't covering, you will be made whole and then some in a universal
Correct.
healthcare system.
Yeah, but he
But the
should've
fact
led
that he
better.
led with yes at all was like immediately, you know, MSNBC is blasting that clip. You know what I mean? Sort of just, oh, he's going to raise your taxes.
From the
and,
centrist
you know,
Democrat area to kind of crush them.
From, from the lovely folks over at MSNBC. But yeah, so it's, you know, what does a business do when they are underwater? They raise revenue. How do you raise revenue if you're the government? You raise taxes. Like, that is just full stop, period,
Right.
the entire conversation, and we just never talk about it.
And if you ever
pretty
sit down in
crazy
good
to me.
faith with someone about it, you could find ways that you still wouldn't have
Yeah.
high taxes on like small businesses. Like nobody wants that. Nobody wants high taxes on small businesses. Nobody wants high taxes on poor
No.
people. Like who
No,
fucking
you
wants?
have high
Nobody wants
taxes
that.
on corporations and
The
billionaires. That's what
richer
you
people.
do.
Yeah, yo, it's so true.
Yeah.
Um,
And it,
that's
yeah.
that's where you know, like, you ask yourself out there, am I populist left? Am I? You're populist left if you believe that like poor people and small businesses should actually pay like almost effectively no taxes because there's enough to go around. I get you still have to do the math, but let's say in theory, how about you still have to do the math? But in theory, if there's enough to go around and you can skim off the top,
Right.
then like why the fuck would you hit small businesses and poor people? It makes no sense. So yeah.
Right. Well, because, Cyril, you misunderstand. The people at the top actually pay money to write our laws. So it gets complicated.
No, I understand that. Citizen,
It gets very complicated.
No matter what discussion we're doing, there's always a way, and you do it often, which is beautiful, to bring it back to Citizens United. It's so true. It's so true. I think
it is the
anybody who
the
thinks too
sickness-
much. Yeah.
It's the rot at the heart of our democracy. But go ahead.
And anybody that thinks too much about this shit, like we do, it's always like, if not the number one of the biggest things. Like you gotta change it.
Yeah.
You gotta change it.
You know what really pisses me off though, and this is Trump's original. So this this budget they passed extended his tax cuts from 2016, and notably, or 2017,
made them
whatever that
permanent
first-
for
made them permanent.
certain entities and
Correct.
wealth status.
Which
people.
is this is what pisses me off. So they passed their tax cuts in 2017, and the tax cuts were, first of all, they were set to expire
for the middle
right.
class. Yep.
for the middle class, and they were sunsetted over the next 4 years for the middle class, so that by the time those tax cuts were fully expiring, do you know who would be feeling the pinch?
Yeah, they line
Is
it
the
all up.
next
Same
person
thing with
in office.
same thing with Medicaid. I think the cuts don't kick in until like 2028.
Isn't that just so fucking shameless?
It's so
Doesn't
shameless.
that should
Because there's a, I don't know what. Oh, More Perfect Union is an excellent YouTube channel. They just interview like regular people, talk to them, and they really try to like. They don't push a narrative, but you can tell they're trying to fight a good fight by just chatting with people and asking the right questions. Dude, they went to Louisiana, and like everybody was like, I voted. They went to some rural, like probably a poor community. I'm sure they didn't like pick the wealthy community. Obviously, when you hear what I say, every person was like, I voted for Trump, and I'm on Medicaid. And it's like, oh boy. Like, that's crazy because they fucked you. Now it's in 2028 when I think people will start to feel it. I'm not sure. I have to look at it more deep, but
wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yep.
It's that shameless political calculation. And then it's funny too because every single time the benefit that doesn't expire is obviously the one that benefits the top 1% of people. Every single
now they lock
fucking
those
time.
in. Yep. Now they lock those
Right. Those are
in. And
those
if
are permanent.
you
Those can stay.
asked young Psy, like, trickle down is still going to be something that's written into bills and passed when you're like 33. I would be like, what? Because I remember like watching and being a little plugged in even around like 18, let's say 18, 19, and feeling like and kind of feeling to myself like trickle down is a crock of shit. And here we are. We're still passing it, Because like back then too, as a younger person, you feel like, oh, like as we age, you'd think, it could only get better. Very naive. That shit is, not we know what we know now, but
I do
it's
think
crazy.
I do think a post MAGA era where millennials are the biggest voting bloc, you will see a shift
Yes, but it doesn't
away
mean more
from trickle down.
Democrats.
No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
I
But I
agree
think
with that. I agree with that.
there is a populist grumblings on both
Yes,
sides.
because
Where
by the
I've
way,
seen a
fuck
lot
you,
of
Trump. You don't represent trickle down, and you got elected. Go ahead. Yep.
What do you mean he doesn't represent trickle
Like
down?
he represented economics of I want to keep Medicare and Social Security. He even said Medicaid like a dumbass, and this party passes it. But you know what I mean? Like the things he says. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, but that's all just lip service.
It's bluster,
right?
no
I mean,
doubt. But he would say like keep your jobs, those that were shipped
Would,
away, keep the social safety net. Go ahead.
yeah, which obviously is insincere, and I think his supporters are sort of growing wise to that. I've seen some grumblings about this big beautiful bill
We'll see.
from certain pockets,
Sure.
especially because of the Medicare stuff, the
Medicaid?
SNAP stuff.
Medicaid,
Sorry,
and
Medicaid.
SNAP, yeah.
So we'll see, but it's just crazy to me that they get to just be wildly hypocritical about actually like this is the party of fiscal responsibility. They are at a minimum adding 3 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years.
Yeah. And they're doing it to cut taxes and to offset
For wealthy.
some of it. They're taking away healthcare from the least of us.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Also, can we be clear? The Joe Biden administration, when him and his Democrats passed the Inflation Reduction Act, that was paid for.
Correct.
That was paid for.
Correct.
This is not paid for. So
Correct.
I just feel like
Correct.
if anybody can claim fiscal responsibility, I just cannot believe
The
that
one thing that
Republicans are
Democrats
allowed
miss is hammering away on taxing taxing the haves. And it goes back to what you said. It is a tricky thing to navigate. It is something that we need to do to not have a fucking deficit. That is true. But as far as politics go, you're right that I don't even know that you could message it good enough to where it's not underwater. But it should be. Like, that sucks. And you tell me what that means for the deficit. Anyways, not good things.
Sorry, I'm just making sure I didn't misspeak. Carry on.
Misspeak? What are you looking at?
I didn't know if it was the Inflation Reduction Act that was paid for. The
Yes,
bill
I think
that-
that's correct. Was it? I think most of I think the point still stands that, like, you tell me which party would even
No,
make
for
an
sure.
actual sincere effort to balance out what they're trying to pay for with, because Democrats also cut. Like, these people are not fucking socialists. These morons out
Yeah.
here, the Stephen Millers, who will burn in hell, who are always like, Democrats are communists and social. Like, they're fucking not. They're corporate. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,